Hey there, Friday Night Movie fans. You are in for an awesome episode this week. We're going to talk about romantic comedies. Before we get into that, I want to let you know some exciting news. I will be bringing Friday Night Movie on the road to the Gamer Comic Expo in Fort Lauderdale at the Broward County Convention Center, November 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'll be there recording bits with guests there and recording episodes of the show. I'll even probably Skype in my sisters for part of the adventure. So if you're in Florida, come and hang out. Come be part of the show. Be part of our Potter and family. And again, that's Gamer Comic Expo in Broward County Convention Center, November 8th and 9th. With that, hope you enjoy today's show. And welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. Right now it's just me and Brian Stever of the Take Two podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm good. What's going on? I see two women talking, but we can't hear them. Why is that?
Because I muted them because they were terrorizing me as I was starting the intro.
I know you're such. I can't even deal with you right now.
God, I do wish you were video recording right now to see their faces. This is fantastic. And I think in life, all men should get a mute button on their... Never mind. Edit that out.
Boo.
Edit that line out.
You silenced us.
I would say siblings definitely need the mute button on their siblings. But as the listeners have noticed, we have with us a great guest. I would say, like, if our podcast had a sibling, it would probably be the Take Two podcast. We've got Brian Stever, the maestro of Take Two, who is here to talk with us about a lot of things. But, you know, he's a romantic guy. So we're going to focus on rom-coms. Brian, welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. I am the stepbrother of the Friday Night Movie Pod, our Take Two podcast for sure. Much love from you guys' show. We love your show so much because we do feel a part of your family. So thank you for having us. You guys can find our show, Take Two Podcast, Hollywood News and Reviews, and we give you our Take Two, spelled T-O-O. We'll play on words there, so you can check us out. Our weekly show just dropped Tuesday, and then we have a whole other universe with some extra goodies in there along the way throughout the week. So thanks for having me on, guys.
It is a pleasure to have you here, and we need your expertise to get through this romantic episode. But before we do that, I want to check in with my sisters, Lily and Becky. How are you?
I feel like I have so many stories for you.
I have
but
one
I don't
story.
want to like take up the whole time.
Pick the best
so
one.
I'm gonna.
Think.
I'm just gonna pick one thing. No, I have it. It's just I don't know if it's the best one, but it's the one that's most on my mind from this week. That yesterday we were at this big 40th birthday party for a friend of ours, and me and Jose are there together, and he's talking. We have a bunch of friends are there we haven't seen in years. We went to Barcelona for it. I'm talking to a girlfriend that I hadn't seen in like 10 years or something. No, 5-6 years or something. And we're chit-chatting, and he's right next to me but talking to somebody else. And I am not kidding. All of a sudden, he just like taps my nose from across the conversation. Like I'm talking to someone and he just like taps my nose and then keeps talking, and I looked at him and was like,
sounds anti-Semitic.
I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, nothing. And then I was like, anyways, I kept talking. And then after I was like, dude, like, why did you hit my nose like that? He's like, you had a booger. And I was like,
he just reached over and grabbed a booger.
Whoa. I was like, you are a ninja. He's like, yeah, I didn't want to make a thing of it. I got it. Don't worry. I was like, move.
Well done.
Ninja husband. Nicely done.
Well done.
Could have offered me a tissue, but I'll take it. So I don't know. I thought of you, Shy, for some reason.
Boogers? Yeah, I often think of Shy too.
Becky, how are you?
Okay, so you know how as your kid gets a little bit older, you know, they level up in terms of difficulty, right? You know, and as a parent, you have to level up as well.
And I feel like level bad guys that you have to
like the next level bad guys. And I feel like the other day I personally leveled up. And it's 3:00 in the morning. My daughter has a fever. I'm holding her, she barfs the entire contents of her stomach just onto me, misses everything else onto me, and the first thing that goes through my mind is, thank God it didn't get on the furniture and I caught it with my body, because now I don't have to clean the chair. Not, oh my God, because I remember the first time she ever threw up on me, I was horrified at the thought of having been thrown up on, and this time I was relieved.
It was contained.
It was contained.
You did text me though, I have barf in my underwear.
Yeah, but you use your shirt as like a cup.
That's what I did. Well, I was just, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was the worst one to date, but she's only 2. But and then so I feel like I transcended to a new level when that's the only thing that was going through my mind. One less thing to clean up. I contained it with my body.
I'm very proud of you. Okay,
Thank
Shy,
you.
how are you doing?
No, how are you?
Doing?
So
You have to follow that. You have to follow up a booger and vomit story.
So, well, we're headed in that direction today. So, right now as we speak, actually, hopefully this will all be resolved by the time the episode drops. But we got a dog in our family, Rocket. And what did I say about getting a dog? That it was going to cost me a lot of money and a lot of emotional anguish.
Crotchety old man.
So this
didn't want a dog.
So this poor dog got really, really sick, kind of out of the blue. We woke up, and he was listless. He had a fever, and we had to.
Should I text me that? And I was like, "How Korman is this dog? I didn't know dogs could get fevers, and I've had 2, one of them for 10 years now, and." Yeah, a Korman dog would get a fever.
So
for sure.
we take him in, and anyways, at the end of the day, the vet recommends we take him to the ER, where he was admitted to the hospital. He's in the hospital right now, and hopefully he'll be coming back.
Human ER?
No, the dog ER,
the
pet
ER.
Pet ER.
Developed countries, Lily, have pet hospitals that are open 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Like
because
an emergency room.
my vet has a pet ER at the vet. They are the ER. That's why. I go to the vet.
I thought that in Spanish universal healthcare, maybe the pets and the humans went to the same place.
Possible, but I mean,
So like if one line is shorter, you can be like, I'll just go see the vet if you show up at the ER.
They're the same.
You have
doctor.
something to that. Okay, that's a good idea.
So I have now let's remember, I was alone with the dog for 6 hours already before Allie tagged in. She was with the kids. And we're at the ER, and I've been sitting with the dog for 6 hours at this point, and they put us in a waiting room, which looked much nicer than a hospital room that you would normally have at an ER, because it had little chairs that were soft, and it had a carpet on the ground and pictures of animals, old-timey pictures of animals, very cute. And so we bring the dog in, and
carpet on the ground at a vet ER just seems counterintuitive.
It was like not a carpet; it was like a rug. It was like a Persian rug. I guess if you have a cat, maybe they like the rugs. I don't know. Anyways,
how much money do you spend to go to this place?
I don't know.
Well, we're about to find out. I think that's part of the story.
Get the pet insurance.
They subscribe to Becky's thought. If they could just poop on the carpet, it'll contain. And they just wrap
roll
that
up
all
the
up.
carpet, throw it out.
So my back's starting to hurt. It's sore from sitting in a chair all day. And you know when it's like you're waiting in the airport or you're waiting in the ER.
Tell me you lie down on the floor.
So I just got so tired that I curled up my arm and I laid down on the floor of the carpet while Allie holds the dog. And because I'm so wiped out. And then
you're not at an airport on an overnight canceled flight situation as a teenager.
So I'm laying down, I'm starting to nod off. I wake up when the nurse and doctor come in. And as we're sitting there, I'm like, I tell Allie, I'm like, how dirty could this be? Because we're in like a hospital environment. The moment I get up, our dog barfs on the carpet, pees in the corner, and then poops separately in the other 2 corners. And I was just like, ooh, I can't believe I laid on that floor.
Yikes.
And then they charged us $2,800. So everything
pet insurance.
But let's
you have pet insurance, right?
Let's hope the dog comes home safe and he's all right, because he's a cute little guy. Now, on that note, let's talk about romance. Brian on the Take Two.
It's a hell of a segue. That was a great segue.
Yes.
On the Take Two podcast, Brian, as I can tell, is the romantic rom-com aficionado. and we all hung out at All Star Comic Con, and we wanted to have Brian back, as a member of the family here.
Yes.
Thanks.
And Lily had pitched a while ago to us that we should have Brian on to talk about rom-coms. And so there's many levels we're going to talk about here. Particularly, we're going to get to the streaming rom-coms, for which Becky and Brian, I think, are the people I know who have watched the most of these. But
Becky or Lily?
Sorry, Lily.
Lily.
Becky, I don't think watches those.
I do, but not at the same level of consumption as Lily.
Or interest.
Or interest.
Like if it
or
comes out like I see it shamelessly, yes. That's I would say, like, you guys have your disgusting shows that you watch. So that's my thing.
So let's just start with defining our best rom-coms, our top 5 or 6 best rom-coms that define the genre for us.
I just wanted to put like a label before we started. I was worried about this. This is stressing me out genuinely. For our listeners, I want to make a clear distinction before going forward that we're not including teen movies in this, correct? Like teens are, that could be on your top.
I didn't.
That's fine. No, do not. I'm watching Brian.
Lily's adding the rules now.
No, I'm just saying, like,
what are the rules?
I'm just saying that, like, I feel like if that's on your top 6, that's totally fine. But personally, for all listeners out there,
you're not.
The teen genre, like the 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, like the John Hughes like collection or whatever. To me, while those are romantic and funny, that's like we've done an episode when we watch Blockers on like teen romance movies or teen comedy movies. So
I think
I find they're 2 different genres.
Use your own definition. I don't think we can count on everyone who is listening right now to have listened to all 119 episodes of this show.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying that like there's just so many. Otherwise, it's too anxiety-provoking for me to make this list.
Well, why don't
I was raising my hand because I've listened to all your. That was
my
hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Why don't you, Lily, then just start with your list and tell us how you define it?
Okay.
And everyone else will go.
I'm just sorry. This episode means a lot to me. Like, to me, there should be a category in the Oscars just for this. Not just comedy, romantic comedy. Okay, Bridget Jones.
That's a good choice. Allie would be proud.
Yeah, although Allie and I have severe disagreements on rom-coms. But yes, we do agree on Bridget Jones. Just 1. 2 should be burned in like a garbage dumpster fire.
Not a good movie.
At 3, I don't know that I pretend it doesn't exist. Pretty Woman. Duh. Moonstruck. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. While You Were Sleeping.
Interesting, because that's
Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman?
One of the creepier ones.
It is.
Sandra
it's one
Bullock.
of the creepier premises.
Sandra Bullock, Bill Pullman.
Have you guys noticed,
guys?
Have you noticed that often rom-coms have creepy premises?
Yes, Shai has a whole a topic on this podcast of stuff
just
that
creepy premises.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I went to something that, like, not necessarily. Of course, there's a Sleepless in Seattle. You've Got Mail. Movies I've seen multiple times and love dearly. But I went for my number 6 on that list, An Amelie, because that was a romantic comedy that was so different and so special when it came out, and so artistic.
Isn't that just a sequel to Chocolat?
No. Don't just say French words. That I really felt like is actually in the pantheon of great rom-coms, but it's not your and then I of course have to honorably mention 13 Going on 30, my favorite movie all time, but I couldn't figure out if that was a teen movie or a rom-com, so I left it where it is.
It's a rom-com.
And The Wedding Singer.
There aren't any actual teenagers in it. There are preteens and grown adults.
I have 13 Going on 30 and The Wedding Singer. Do not judge me on the 5 past 6. That's my list.
But I'm happy we got this far. Becky, let's hear yours.
Okay, so while I appreciate that you gave us 6, if we're talking genre defining, then I only have 5.
Okay.
Oh, whereas I seem to have 8.
Right. So first of all, Better Off Dead, because when you talk rom-com, comedy.
Tom in that movie is so 80s, it's ridiculous.
The comedy in that movie is so offbeat, quirky, quotable, culty.
Fries,
It is
Self-harm.
front dressing.
What about all of the suicide attempts in that movie?
Well, it's called Better Off Dead.
It's again controversial.
Again,
Could it be made today?
I'm sorry, we have a different topic later for films that would never be made now. That's not this topic, Shy.
Okay.
Stay in your lane. Okay? So one, that's genre defining for me because it is the quirky romantic film. Then Stranger Than Fiction, which I feel like to me is a sophisticated rom-com.
Will Ferrell?
You know, Emma Thompson, you put Emma Thompson in a rom-com as like a crazy writer. It's so, to me, like it was leveling up. It's like the sophisticated rom-com where you're working on multiple levels. It is
the fact
phenomenal.
that those two together exist on a list is mind-boggling, Becky.
Right? Then I feel like When Harry Met Sally, if you don't appreciate the meaning of that film, it's quintessential. It's quintessential. It's perfect, truly. For myself, Sabrina, like the original with Audrey Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart, it is so good. It holds up today.
Is that a comedy? Isn't it more of a romance?
No, it's a comedy because the character of David is like the younger brother David, who Sabrina is in love with.
Okay.
That's the whole like comedic ruse that's going on, and it's really
Bogart
sweet.
does not crack a smile the entire movie. I'm just saying.
No, or in any movie, but the brother is the comic relief. It is really funny. It is a very funny movie. There's this whole thing where he hurts his butt, and anyways, it's very funny. The brother. And then my absolute, truly, if you said, pick one romantic comedy that defines the genre, it is only 10 Things I Hate About You for me.
Which was on my list, but I took it off because I was like, that is in the teen genre. I can't separate these two.
For me, that is the only, you're there like, you can watch one rom-com for the rest of your life, that would be mine.
Well, it's also a subgenre of teen rom-coms that are Shakespeare redos, which were very popular at the time.
So popular when I was in high school.
Like, I think there's one called Get Over It that's like The Tempest or something like that. Like, there are many.
There's
Twelfth
many.
Night, there are many.
Yeah.
There's some deep cuts.
All of Julia Stiles' early career.
Exactly.
Bard holds up. Bard holds up. But, yeah.
All right, Brian. What do you got for us?
All right, I'm glad they went first because I was worried what could be included and couldn't, and now I'm realizing that pretty much anything could be included.
I mean, not according to my rules, but that's fine.
I feel like we're pretty narrow in our...
Let's see. So I threw on 5, and then I have like 9 honorable mentions, but we'll leave them for later. Number 5.
I'm excited. You can mention
Okay,
all
Lily.
of them, even if Shai says you can't.
We'll stick with number 5. Now, if I think of this movie, I don't immediately think rom-com. To me, I think Christmas with this movie. But then I was like, it fits in, and it's Love Actually.
Oh, yeah, that's on
I
my
have
list.
it on his list too, but to me, that's like a Christmas love movie.
Agreed.
What are you talking
But
about,
fine.
Lily?
No,
That's a whole genre, Christmas movies.
And most
agreed.
are love stories.
There's a Venn diagram. I love the choice, Brian. Love Actually is a masterpiece, and the only one of those intersecting story movies that I like.
Yeah.
How long have you and Allie been married again? A masterpiece.
11 plus years.
Wow, there you go. That's why. All right.
Feel it in my fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Feel it in my...
It's really good.
We're gonna let it snow.
All right, so I threw it in there. All right, number 4, my biggest crush in the history of celebrity crushes of all time. It's okay, my wife knows it. It's a thing. Sandra Bullock, The Proposal.
It is really good.
But of all her movies, that's the one you pick?
I didn't say I was done, my dear.
Wow, Lily.
Just
Lily,
curious. I just got anxious.
Lily, I missed
Also,
a bit
Lily-
of judgment in your voice. Could you ramp that up a bit?
Also,
Yeah.
Ryan
Shai,
Reynolds.
simmer down, Shai, because we all know you love that movie.
Ryan
Don't
Reynolds
defend
playing
him.
against type in that movie because he plays the American and she plays the Canadian.
True.
The irony, astounds me. Keep going.
All right, number 3. I struggled with this one because I didn't immediately think about it, and then I was like, wait, that does fit, but then we're walking the line of the teen movie at the same time, so maybe not. But since it made someone else's list, you're just too good to be true.
Oh,
Can't take
fantastic.
my eyes off of you. 10 things I hate about you.
It's one of the greatest films I think of all
It's
time.
That was where I went.
amazing.
I was like, I don't know if it fits, but I just love the movie so much.
Definitely a
Put it in.
rom-com, even if it Venn diagrams into
Sure.
teen movies. 8 counts. You have my blessing.
I'll take it. Less judgy than Lily earlier, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
Number 2 is my little sister's favorite movie of all time, so she would kill me if I didn't have this on my list at all. But in all honesty, I do have it at number 2, and that's My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh, that was, yeah.
My Best Friend's
What
Wedding
how did you
is
just
which
try
one?
hard, though?
Is that the one where Deborah Messing gets a? Is that the one where Deborah Messing gets a male prostitute?
that Allie loves, Shy.
Yeah,
no.
Allie loves
No, this is
This is
Julia
the-
Roberts.
Julia Roberts
Oh, yeah. Dylan McDermott.
and
Yeah.
Dylan McDermott and Cameron Diaz. And I'm not
then
a
the
fan
friend.
of this movie.
Actually, my
Not a
only
fan?
problem
No.
with my only problem with the movie is whoever chose Julia Roberts'
Her clothes
wardrobe.
are so bad in that movie.
It's
You know when like a
overstressed.
wardrobe in a film is like they say, oh, it's like a character in a movie. So the costuming. Hers was the reverse. It's like they threw in a terrible actor in the middle of that movie, and it was the clothes she was wearing. Number 2, I have to be a sap about this. Like, it's not satisfying to me that at the end she doesn't end up with him. What the fuck did I just watch this home movie for?
Spoiler alert for everybody that was
Right.
excited to go out and watch it.
Doesn't end up with him.
I think I misspoke. Dermot Mulroney. I think I said
But that's
Dylan McDermott.
have you
Dermot
ever seen
Mulroney.
the
No,
SNL
you
sketch?
said Dermot
Have you ever
Mulroney.
seen that?
You said Dermot Mulroney, and I thought Dylan McDermott, but maybe that's
Yeah.
why you.
In there, I think we both
No, you said it though. You said it right.
There's an entire SNL sketch built around the fact that nobody knows which is which.
That's valid.
Yeah.
All right, my number 1, and now I'm scared to say it because this is my number 1. I legit love this movie. It's Back to My Girlfriend of All Time. While You Were Sleeping, I absolutely adore this film.
Why would you
That
be
was
afraid
on
to say
this.
it? That was on my list. That means that it's approved. You're
Number
fine.
1, baby. Number 1.
Now, that also has a Dylan
Fuck.
McDermott or a Dermot Mulroney in it, right?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And a Peter Gallagher, right?
Oh,
he's asleep.
sorry.
Peter Gallagher.
Oh, Peter Gallagher.
Peter Gallagher. And Sandra.
And
again,
Bill
one of-
Pullman again. Shout out, Bill Pullman. Where are you? Come back to us.
like in real life, you would be sued for what happens in this. Like someone would sue her, and she would go to jail for like stalker fraud something.
Oh,
But in
100%.
it, like in the
She
world
saved
of
his life. He owes her.
This movie
Sure.
is, we've named the leads, Gallagher, Pullman, and Bullock. They're not who makes this movie for me. The
Oh.
family makes this movie for me.
Oh, that's sweet.
Peter
That's
Boyle,
true.
you know,
There's a
Oh,
when-
Culkin in there. There's a
Yeah.
Culkin thrown
There
in
was a
there.
Culkin in the 90s.
because
Well,
she
floating
doesn't
around
necessarily, she doesn't really fall in love with Peter Gallagher and doesn't even get to Bull Pullman. She just falls in love with being a part of a family and being part of like that
Sweet as
craziness.
Brian.
So, well, I'm on the Friday Night Movie Pod, the best family pod there is, and to me,
You
that's
got
what
me,
this movie
Ryan.
is all
You
about.
got me.
You know, and then in the end, she does fall in love with Bill Pullman, and it's
She
great,
does.
and they're on the back of the subway train.
I do have to say that we can all agree the fundamental part of any of these movies is chemistry.
Mhm.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how good
Very
your script
true.
is. It doesn't like you'd think like okay, let's cast Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal. I guess he was a hottie in the 80s. I don't know.
I don't know. He's quirky.
In a movie together, and they're gonna fall in love over this epic tale. Yet there's chemistry. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like you need in a true good rom-com.
But it's also a great script.
If
I'm
there's
just
a-
saying.
It is.
if
but it
there's a
doesn't
world
work if the
where-
leads don't have good chem.
If we're living in a world where Billy Crystal is a hottie, then Shy and I are Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Right now. Like,
I think that's why those movies play well, though. For
it's
like,
the everyday
the-
man
the-
type thing.
The
Yeah.
universally loved ones. I wonder if we could go back and analyze that. Don't often have an underdog guy.
Cusack is, and even Tom Hanks. Like these are not Hemsworth guys. Like they're great actors.
But I will
but
say
they're real
Cusack
guys.
is like the 80s and 90s record store chic high fidelity attractive that that I think is on a different level. Tom Hanks is very fatherly, but Cusack I feel like is his own Hemsworth in himself. I'm not saying, you follow what I'm saying? Like, growing up, the women that I thought were cool all had a thing for John Cusack over, let's say, a more traditional movie star type. Okay. Now, here's my list has a couple that you guys have already mentioned: Pretty Woman, Wedding Singer, Love Actually. I'm going to throw in Hitch with Will Smith. I know
it's a great movie.
Genius.
I know Gemini.
Genius choice.
Do the Q-tip.
Q-tip. Exactly.
Stop making the pizza. You already got food there. You don't need to make the pizza.
I mean, Will Smith can do anything. God's sakes.
Will Smith, I know there's some issues with Gemini Man. By the way, in your last episode of Take Two, I think you guys broke down that. Apparently, people should see that on the fancy screens, not on the regular screens.
Accurate.
But Hitch is a movie.
Looking forward to listen after I see the movie.
Hitch is a movie where the chemistry between Will Smith and Kevin James is as good as the romantic chemistry that happens at any point, and the love story
that's to Brian's point. Yeah, it's the most important chemistry there.
Is so great. And Eva Mendes, I love her, and she has some great physical comedy in this movie. She's a beauty, and she's like a movie star, beautiful woman, but she is hilarious in this when she gets kicked in the face on the jet ski, or when Will Smith gets her reaction when Will Smith gets the allergic reaction. Whenever I get an allergic reaction, that's my description immediately. I look like Will Smith in Hitch.
Whenever I get an allergic reaction, I
would love to see her. I would love to see her in more stuff, and you're right, especially more comedies. I feel like, you know, we're missing out by not having her in more comedic roles.
She's raising Ryan Gosling's babies. What can you do?
Oh wow, God. I did not know.
Yeah.
Are they unicorns?
Like they have so many babies together.
Those are going to be beautiful children. Wow.
Guaranteed. Yeah, they're already better looking than Shy and I.
Absolutely. My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
It's me, like that deserves to be on somebody's list. To
Brian's point about family, when people hang out with our family, you get a variation of My Big Fat Greek Wedding when you're inducted into the wider. Brian, you've met the first ring. You haven't gone into the deeper
and by
reaches.
Variation, you just mean our entire family sitting around speaking in My Big Fat Greek Wedding quotes.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's a whole other meta level, is that it's a big, like, everyone will always talk about the babapsi and do you eat lamb, or do you eat meat? And then one that I know is controversial in this group, but I absolutely love, is music.
You didn't name the most controversial,
music
so we're
and
fine.
Lyrics. Music.
I just love how much you love that movie. It's a cute movie, but it's not like great. You just love it so much.
It's a rom-com set to the backdrop of hilarious music industry parody, and it has great original music written for it, including the pop-up video version of the Hugh Grant boy band video. I love that movie. I think it's underrated. Okay, those are best rom-coms. Any other alibis? Last comments on the best rom-coms?
I did not list of other ones that we love.
Well, now we touched on this a little bit, but some of these rom-coms some rom-coms in general are no longer acceptable. For me, the one that comes to my mind always is Can't Buy Me Love, because it's another one of those prostitution
worse than
ones.
rom-com. That's a teen movie that can't be made today.
Oh, right,
people are underage.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of creepy stuff in that movie. Better Off Dead has this repeated suicide attempt component. What other rom-coms would not be allowed anymore?
I wrote Never Been Kissed because essentially the movie plot is about a hot teacher making a move on a student. Like, he doesn't know she's an adult. She's supposed to be like a 17-year-old. So I rewatched it recently, and I loved that when I was younger, and I had rewatched it recently, and I'm not sure that movie holds up. It was really weird, and I was like,
super weird.
I'm not sure this is a good message in this film.
Mean, essentially everything from the John Hughes collection, but let's just narrow in on 16 Candles and all of like the horribly racist things.
Right,
and,
but
like,
again, I feel like that's the teen genre. I don't know if that counts as rom-coms. You know, I don't think Pretty Woman could be made today.
Right.
If they switch the genders, maybe.
Could. No, but I think it would be more of a drama. You couldn't like
Should
just
be like leaving Las Vegas or something.
Yeah, it'd have to be like a little. But I actually want to bring up a topic. Sorry, Brian, you chime in here, and then Shai, if you don't mind me taking the reins for a moment, I have a question for the
By all
panel.
Do you have a choice?
No,
but
but
I put it in the notes. I mean, you could have put it in the notes. It's fine.
I want to give. Well, I didn't think about it
Brian,
until we were in discussion.
Why don't you throw it out? Throw it there first. Answer the main question first.
And then I'll ask a.
No, you know what? All of the ones that you said are good. I'd actually like to spend more time thinking about this. Where two things: one, just like it wouldn't work today, and two, something that this could go down a tangent. If you gender switched a lot of these movies, would that be okay? Like, and while you're sleeping, like if a guy saved a girl and then still stuck around and told the family, "Yeah, I've been with her the whole time."
Yeah, that'd
right?
be bad.
You're
right.
So
That's
then
a good point.
I wonder how many of those.
Point.
Yeah,
well, they remade Overboard, which was a piece of crap, but they only remade it switching the gender roles because they could not do that movie today.
And even then. So when we were talking about Hitch Shy, Eva Mendes came up about, and we were saying like, oh, she's so funny in it, and like to see her in more rom-coms. Are there any other leads that you wish were doing more rom-coms? Because like the next thing that came up in my mind, I was like, oh, I want to see Paul Rudd in more rom-coms.
Wait, more rom-coms? Like even Ant-Man is basically a rom-com.
I just want to see him. Yeah, but like rom-com. Like I want to see him in more of that.
Does I Love You Man count as a rom-com?
Well, but that's what I'm saying is that it's I Love You Man. He does a lot of romance. He does like a lot of romance stuff. I'd like to see him in like a proper rom-com. I mean, is there anyone? Okay, sorry. Don't answer the question, guys. You have nothing to say. I'm curious if there's anyone you feel like you're lacking their presence in the rom-com genre. You'd like to see more of them.
This is my thinking phase. We're with you. We're thinking.
I think that when you're talking about people who are missing from the rom-com genre, I would say I would like to see more of your Kevin James type characters in the rom-com genre. More of your, like, everymans. Yeah, like, I'd like to see, I mean, that's me, like, I'd like to see some more of these everymans. They don't need to end up with, like, supermodels in each one. Like, there's a I don't know if it's a rom-com, but there's one where Kevin James, I think it's called Here Comes the Boom, where he becomes an MMA fighter in his school, and he ends up with Salma Hayek. It doesn't need to be Kevin James ends up with Salma Hayek. I liked Kevin James and the woman who was in Hitch. Like, I'd like to see more heartfelt guy earning the trust of someone that you'd actually believe they could be together.
Okay.
That's what I would go for.
And I also want to throw out there that, like, I personally, I don't know how people, I'm asking this genuinely, like, I don't know how people feel about, like, seeing love stories of same-sex couples, like, if you're not gay, like, if you're straight or whatever, like, or if you're gay and if you're gay dude and seeing a lesbian movie or something. But I will say that, like, to me, my rom-com, like, genre, I am 100% open. Like, Kissing Jessica Stein is one of my favorite movies. And it wasn't on my list because I don't know how funny it is. Like,
doesn't she stop being a lesbian by the end?
She does. And I don't know if that's maybe today, maybe not the right message, but I don't think that's the point of it. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it has to be traditional.
Love Simon, while as a teen movie, is a good example of rom-com.
Exactly. I want chemistry.
Love that.
And I think, like, there should be more different stories. Like, all the Netflix stuff that's coming out as rom-com is they're diverging a little bit, but it's still kind of the same, story turned over and over again. So I would say, back to answer your question, more than just one actor particularly, I would say open up the type of stories they're telling.
Yeah, okay,
make it
that's
a good
answer.
And by the way, and I will fall in love with whoever.
By the way, Paul Rudd's not a lead in that many rom-coms. You have, like, I Love You Man, which is a bromance. What else? He's in Clueless.
Did you watch Living with Yourself yet?
Oh, yeah. I've already talked about it. I love it.
Did you?
So good, I finished it. Yeah.
Yeah, I knocked it out in the night. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I immediately told my wife we have to go on a date.
Oh,
I felt like that's what that movie was kind of,
Yeah.
that show, was about. It was like,
Exactly.
you need to find ways to rekindle your spirit and your life together, and et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, tangent.
Yeah.
That's
Paul Rudd did it.
So it was like
He's
couples
very-
therapy.
so
It's adorable.
Right.
So what you're saying is Paul Rudd. I think Paul Rudd helps everyone romantically, for sure.
Agreed.
Well, that's a good segue into streaming rom-coms. Lily and Brian, they're the people who have clocked more of these than anybody I know. Like,
There's a
the
lot now
names
that we-
sound made up at this point.
They do.
Yeah.
One of the newest ones is called In Love, with the two N's on the
Ns.
N, like pun
'Cause it's at
intended,
the
because
end. Yeah.
she opens an inn, and I was
how is
like,
it,
oh,
though?
come on, people, take that to the Lifetime channel.
So
Give me
this
a break.
this is a rant that I've been on for a while, which is it seems that Netflix will do these amazing genre-bending, creator-driven series, TV shows, and then the movies are remember direct-to-video and Blockbuster, like the many sequels to the Scorpion King. That's what I feel like we're getting when it comes to a lot of their movies. The Ali Wong one, I actually didn't enjoy that movie very much. I thought it was okay.
I forgot about that.
Always
That was
be
great.
my maybe. I thought you liked it.
I liked it, but I didn't think it. I think all the things it brought to the table
It
were
was
different.
so good.
Were the story about the raps, like the rapping. The rest of the movie was I felt like if I'm gonna have Ali Wong's rom-com, why was it exactly like nothing special otherwise? And so
Ooh.
Agree to
burn.
disagree.
Well, agree
Brian,
to
what
disagree.
did you think?
I'm team shy on that one. I actually didn't like it, and the big cameo that
No.
everybody loved, I actually felt it stayed too long. I liked him in the beginning, but then they went back to his house and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I
could
didn't like it.
just
it was a
watch
gimmick.
a movie of Keanu Reeves doing gimmick cameos
I loved it,
for
but I
2 hours, and I'd be
respect
happy.
your skepticism. And I see your point. Sometimes I will flat out disagree with you and say you're wrong and wrong answer, but I do see what you're saying, even though I do like how she turned it on its head and he has to go out. Like, he's going after her and changing his life, and she's a successful one, and she's like, no, this is who I am, like, take it or leave it. I like that whole part of it, because as a lady, you don't see that often in rom-coms.
I have no complaints about that. I have complaints about just like the movie. Like, so are any of
You're
these
like, I'm
good?
not against feminism, I just didn't like the movie.
Are any of these good? Are there?
So what that puts you into is you're segueing perfectly from what Lily was saying into Netflix and broadening there. I feel what they've broadened for the most part is just different cultures as opposed to sexual orientation. Crazy Rich Asians, Always Be My Maybe, like they're hitting on that. You know, Shy and I didn't like maybe, but a lot of people did. Crazy Rich Asians was a gigantic hit. Tons of people liked it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. So I think that's a lot where Netflix is going. They're just trying to expand in everything. And give it a minute, I think they probably have sexual orientation in the works. That's got to be coming down the road more of.
Let's hope.
Right. And my point is to that is, and to diversity, of course, like representation of people on film, is just like make the script good. Get some good actors with chemistry. I don't care. Like, get everybody involved, include everybody. I want a good movie.
So
That's what I want
which
to see.
ones are good and which ones are bad? If people are
I don't know
going
if me
on
and Brian feel the same way.
streaming rom-coms, which
But that's
ones
good.
are
It would be
and which-
debatable.
I'm very clear on mine, but Brian, please go ahead first.
No, the obvious I thought the answer would be Crazy Rich Asians would be a lot of people's favorites for the streaming.
But that's not.
No,
a
but that's
Netflix
not. That's not like a streaming.
How is it
movie.
not?
That was a
That was
theatrical
a
release. That
huge
was a feature.
theatrical blockbuster.
Okay, so I thought it was produced by Netflix, and then they had to put it in there because they wanted to.
Well, maybe
No,
I
that
could be
was-
wrong. I can be wrong. I can
No,
easily
Becky,
be wrong here.
Becky, the producer, please.
I don't know. I think that was.
fact check
I
this.
think one of the things was the box office numbers. It's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
sure.
It's not produced. I don't think it's because it's produced by that. What's her name? That super famous producer lady. I'm clearly I
Kathleen
know a lot
Kennedy.
about my industry.
Does not
No.
seem like Netflix was involved.
Okay.
No, so hold on. Netflix reportedly fervently sought worldwide rights to the project, offering artistic freedom, and greenlighted a trilogy. However, they selected Warner Brothers to make the movie. So
That's
Warner-
where my head must have been.
so
Okay,
that's the story with Netflix. They wanted that movie.
They were involved though. That's cool.
okay, that's what I must have been thinking.
But I think we're talking here like a straight to video situation, like a
No, you're
straight
right.
to
Yeah,
stream.
yeah. Okay, well, in that case, my answer has always been my maybe. Greatest movie of all time.
You didn't even like it. Does that mean you don't like any of the streaming
No, I'm teasing.
rom-coms?
All right, Lily, throw yours at me then, because now that
Okay.
I'm way off.
So Isn't It Romantic, at least in Spain, was a straight to Netflix release. I don't know if that's like that for you guys.
It wasn't. I haven't seen it yet because because it was released as a Netflix released, I automatically have lowballed its value, so I won't pay for it. I won't rent it.
That's
Because-
really good.
Which is
So
too
I
bad.
downloaded it when I was in
Right.
Spain and then watched it, I think like on the plane. That was so
my-
good.
my
And
point-
even
Yeah, go
it's
ahead.
so good that even Vlad liked it.
Right, but if it's not Netflix in the United States and it's paid for in the United States, then and it was theatrically
You're like,
released.
it's Netflix somewhere, so I will not pay for it.
But it
a
well,
little
wait
bit.
till you go to Spain next. But like I was saying, it was so good. Vlad, after he watched it, I was like, "What'd you think?" He goes, "Rebel Wilson's a babe," and I was like, "She is. Like that movie is awesome. Like she is so good."
So
I-
here it was Netflix streamed, and I feel like while it's wonderful that like there's a lot of really fun rom-coms for you to watch that are stream available, to some it's detrimental because there's a few on here that could have been, I think, great theatrical releases and get more clout. Isn't It Romantic, at least is one of them because apparently it's on Netflix here.
I saw it in theaters.
Okay. And then the other ones that I liked was this one called Someone Great, which maybe it's more of like
Such a bad title, though.
I know. So, you know what? A lot of these
Really,
I have to say, a lot of these movies, I feel like they cut like costs by coming up with the title. You know what I mean? Like
they didn't pay for
they
that.
paid somebody a shit ton of money. Avengers Endgame. Like whoever came up with Avengers Endgame got a fancy check because that's a solid movie title. Whereas
Doctor
Someone
Strange.
Great could be like blah blah movie with 3 girls in it. And they were like, "Oh, it's streaming anyways. Just pick 2 words and put them together." And so that's the worst title ever, but it's actually a really cute movie, and the girl from Jane the Virgin's in it.
Oh, she's cool. Gina
Rodriguez?
Rodriguez? Yeah.
Gina Rodriguez, and that's a great movie. Again, that's sort of like turns the genre a little bit on its head. Of like she's pining over a guy she just broke up with, and it's a party night out with her friends, and sort of like how she evolves on the idea of that relationship. And I really liked it. It's a great I'm feeling crappy. I just want to sit down and watch a movie. Set It Up. I just recently watched.
Isn't that a dancing
really?
movie?
That
Is it-
looks
it-
so.
looks
No,
okay.
it's about the
Wait.
two people who set up their bosses.
I know,
That looks
guys,
really
I know.
Wait, hold on.
unwatchable.
Set It Up.
Please.
Isn't that the one where like people dance from the streets with the ballet
That's
dancers?
Step It
Step
That's
up.
Julia Stiles
Oh,
in the
okay.
90s. But
Step
Becky,
it
just hear me out. Okay? Hear me out. I agree with you. I was like, I will not stoop that
Is that
low.
is that like Tay Diggs and Lucy Liu? Are
It
they in
is.
it?
Oh,
I-
wait a
I
minute.
said
Now you have me listening.
Right?
I just feel like.
But guys, listen. Just hear me out. Mom recommended it, so I automatically was like, this movie's probably bad. I'm not watching it without her. So I was like, sorry, Mom. That's not good enough. You can't just recommend me this crap movie because you saw it on a plane. But then, Mom's recommendation, plus sign, me reading about Zoe...
Deutsch, who
Deutsch?
who
Is that how
Brian
you
and
pronounce it?
Tony gave big respect for, right? She was in Zombieland 2,
Zombieland 2, yeah.
and she
She steals the movie.
She steals the show, you guys said.
She does
Yeah.
steal this show. So I watched The Politician, which I ended up loving. Josh Crew, sorry. I think you should give it another chance. You get the Wes Anderson prettiness out of your mind, and you can actually get through it. Spoil alert, to get you to the last episode, Judith Light and Bette Midler are in the last episode.
Oh, all
Okay.
right.
Wow.
Wait,
You're making a case.
we're on Set It Up.
Just listen.
Stop bringing
Joe-
everything back to the
Zoe-
politician.
Zoe Deutsch? That's properly how you say that last name?
Yeah.
I'm very bad at pronouncing
That's
people's
my guess.
Okay, so she's in it, and she's great. So I start I'm like, oh, where'd she come from? I start looking her up. She is Leah Thompson's daughter. Hello.
And wait,
Looks exactly like
and
her.
according to Wikipedia, she had a bat mitzvah.
Well, that's adorable. And when you start looking at her face, you're like, oh my God, it is Leah Thompson. Back to the Future, for people who don't have IMDb handy. And I was like, huh, interesting. And then I'm reading a little bit more about her, and an article says her chemistry, again going back to chemistry, with the lead, Glenn Powell. Is that right?
Glenn Powell.
That's
There's
right.
a lot of detail here.
What I'm saying is that the article said their chemistry, the two of them in the movie, is so awesome that they like steal the show. So this is a case where maybe the script isn't the strongest, but like it's a joy to watch them on screen. And I was on a plane. Come on, guys, your standards get reduced dramatically. Yeah. I was like, I will watch it, and it's adorable. So that is going on the list. And then I'm going to have to add. So I don't keep going here. I gave people someone great. Always my baby. I know you have one, Beck. I haven't seen that one yet, so let you say that. And then I will say that Sarah Burgess is a Loser. I liked that movie.
I heard it was like really bad, like modeling, like really, like bad example for teens.
But is it a kids movie?
No,
or is it a movie
it's
for people with like critical thinking?
Have you seen it? How could you say it's a bad example?
No, I'm saying that's what I heard.
I don't think so. Have you seen it, Brian?
No, I haven't. It just came out last year, right? 2018?
Yeah, 2018. And I would say it's like a Cyrano, turning a Cyrano to Bergerac situation on its head. I actually liked it. I thought it was well acted.
It's a totally underrated rom-com. Truth About Cats and Dogs. Love that movie. Janine Garofalo. Uma Thurman. So good.
That's also a Cyrano situation.
Exactly. That's what made me think of it. That's a Cyrano situation. So good.
And then, the popular ones with the kids, To All the Boys I Ever Loved and The Perfect Date, I would have loved those when I was in high school. I thought they were cute. They were kind of nostalgia for me because they were,
do you think I'm going to say?
You're going to say When We First Met.
Yeah. Wait, how did you know that?
Because I know everything about rom-coms.
I didn't read that anywhere. How did you know that? Are you screen sharing me right now?
I just know.
That is so weird. That's the one I was thinking of.
Must be related.
When we first met. So it's it's just Adam Devine being adorable for, an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is. I saw it with Mom. It made it even better.
I'm not asking for an I Told You show. I'm not asking for that because I don't expect that from any of these people. But I just want you to give at least one of the ones I said a chance.
I will give
my list today.
I am 100% with you. I will give more than one of these a chance, and I will report back. Okay, last word.
Give me one. Give me one, Lily, to watch, and I'll report back as well.
Pick one for Brian. Pick one for Brian. This is it, Lily. Pick it.
Oh, isn't it romantic for sure?
Brian
I saw that in theater.
Oh, you saw it in theaters.
How about the Burgess is a Loser? I'll take that one.
Take that one. Let me know what you think. Okay. Again, it's like more of a teen movie, but you seem to like to blur those lines. So
I was a teen once.
Yeah.
Exactly.
6 years ago.
And then I just want to give a warning. I feel like we have a duty to as much to recommend as to warn against. The Kissing Booth, Brian, your kids are probably older than our kids. Don't ever let your children watch that movie. That is a movie that we are saying now is like, that movie couldn't be made now, and yet they did. They just got guys, that movie is so bad. I can't believe it's out there for teens to watch. That and Swiped are horrendous teen movies that are available on Netflix. They should be shut down. Boy. So those are movies don't watch.
11 and 2 are my kids, but okay, they will not be allowed to watch.
Did you say 11 and 2?
11 and 2?
Huh?
Oh, so you also have a 2-year-old. Oh, look what we have in common.
Yeah, man.
11 and 2.
Did yours barf all over you? No?
Not today.
Not today. But it's happening.
11 and 2, we're going to have to put a pin in this and come back to that later because I find
11 was from a previous wife. 2 is from the current.
Okay. Wow. My husband is 9 years apart from his brother, and they get along super well. So
awesome. That I would need to ask some questions later on how to how to handle that because she's hitting that teenager mode. So she loves hanging out with him, but at the same time, she kind of wants to talk to the other kids type thing. So
that makes sense.
My wife's plan to fix that is to just have another one, so those two can just play.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. And don't let her watch The Kissing Booth, okay?
So. All right, unmute Shy so he can talk.
Okay. Wow. Brian, do you have a last word on rom-coms?
Yeah, I'm underknowledged here is what my last word is. I've seen many of them. I'm in the middle of Modern Love right now.
Let's give because Shy gives me so much shit about that. He's like,
that just seems like a really long version of Valentine's Day or any of those other. Like you listed the cast, and I was just like, oh, I cannot watch this movie.
So I think I saw your tweet about that, and they're not connected. So, like, each of the stories.
So it's even
So
worse.
it's like,
So it's an
there's not even a
anthology.
Love
It's
Actually
each
component
one.
where they all know each other?
No, it's not even that. It's not even fun like that. No, each episode is its own independent. I'm only 5 in.
It's like a Paris Je t'aime situation.
Yeah, so it's all little stories, and they have their own quick little 30-minute storyline. I'm digging it. Episode 1, not gonna lie, you might tear up. The other ones, they're just good.
I
They're fun to watch.
specifically
I'm gonna watch it.
recommended one to you, Becky. I was like, you got to watch
Yeah,
one.
I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna happen.
Some are better than others, though.
I need to save
Right,
something
Brent?
for maternity leave, so
It's true.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
hence
can't-
I'm working
it
right
seems
now.
like perfect
Sorry.
maternity leave stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, as opposed to
Especially episode
Walking
1.
Dead, which is what I watched when my daughter was born.
Hmm.
Vlad's a little concerned. He wants me to find lighter fare for baby number 2.
But wait, he doesn't want you to watch episode 1. That's all about being a single mom and having the baby on your own. You don't need a man. So.
Oh, well, no. I need him. He's not going anywhere. He has lots of work to do. Nothing will convince him otherwise.
He's
So-
busy.
So there you have, folks, a definitive guide to what's going on in the streaming world of rom-coms, plus some debate there. All right, let's get into our recommendations. I'm going to kick off our recommendations because I'm going to lead off promoting Take Two again and saying I am a Patreon subscriber of Take Two Podcast, which means I am dedicating a certain amount of my money, not very much. I'm in the low ranks of $1 per month, but because I'm such a big fan and I want to help them make that podcast, and because of that, they are giving stuff back to the fans, and the thing they are giving back to us so far are these special premium only episodes, and their episode reviewing the Joker, which I was listening to today because I knew Brian was coming on today and I saw the Joker last night, is fantastic. There's a lot of depth. There is a lot of just straight up energy, and you guys had a great guest in Colby Mack in breaking down this movie and the different angles with which you talked about why the movie is great were really refreshing and honest and almost made me like it, because I have to say
Sometimes that's what a review, that is the importance of a review, especially a VIP review. Is that like if you can change your opinion about a movie, that's
So I would say,
or open you up or make you appreciate an aspect of it that you were perhaps overlooking or not giving enough credit to. That's great.
So for me, what I'll just say about the Joker is that and I agree with the Take Two. I'm not giving away spoilers on your podcast, but I'm agreeing with you all that Joaquin Phoenix gives an performance of the lifetime.
Okay.
And I think it's easily something someone could win for Best Actor. That's number one. Number two, this is a movie that 100% delivers on its promise. That is always a big thing for me, which is a movie promises you something either with the trailer or the description or with the universe that it's playing in, right? So, for example, Star Wars, right? Everyone knows I hate The Last Jedi. To me, it's because it violated the promise, the contract with the audience. And I think Todd Phillips, or at least the people who are presenting this movie, made very clear what you were getting here, which was this alternate or interpreted history of the Joker, which the DC universe, if you know anything about it, actually allows you to have. There's many different interpretations of the Joker, whether it's on Gotham or in The Killing Joke or in the Jack Nicholson version. And I can so all of those things are 100% true, and it delivers on those promises. The problem with that promise for me is that it is a promise that I never would ever have entered into. I hated every minute of this movie. I hated every shot. I hated the music was a mix between like old timey Frank Sinatra and the cellos from Colney Dre at the synagogue I go to.
Damn.
They whatever budget they didn't, like, if the $55 million budget, they spent $30 million on cello solos, like really, 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 really piercing cello solos. I found it like a truly oppressive experience. It was extremely depressing and dark, and unrewarding. I don't think anything that happened in the plot was surprising at all. I think there were certain things where people debated.
He becomes the Joker?
Well,
Spoiler, Lily. Thanks.
people debated whether certain things were real and certain weren't. I actually thought the movie spoon-fed those things completely. I didn't see any real like mystery there. I think there were certain elements of the plot that were spoon-fed completely. I suspect perhaps that might have been studio interference to the extent if there was studio interference. I feel like that would have been in the forcing of the Batman angle, or the look, you've got to explain to them which part of this was in his imagination and which part wasn't. And an hour into the movie, and we had different movies we were looking at going to see, Zombieland 2 or The Joker.
Wait, you picked this over Zombieland 2?
No, I gave the choice to my wife, and I explained to her. I said, "This is what I think the Joker movie is going to be."
Why would she ever pick? Because her favorite movie's The Holiday.
No, because
so
in fairness, everyone we know has said this is a great movie, and I think everyone who said it was a great movie described it 100% accurate. I am not saying that it is a bad movie.
You're
I'm
saying you
saying
didn't like
I
it.
hated every minute
Which
of
is
it.
fair.
Which is a
Did
totally...
she like it?
No.
Fair.
An hour into it, we looked at each other. Allie looked at me and she goes, "What is going on here?" I said loudly in the theater, I said, "I told you this is what it was going to be like." It's just, and I think one thing though,
You didn't cut and run to go see Zombieland 2.
one of the things the movie really because I didn't want to have to watch it again, and I felt like I owed it myself to see the end, and so I'm like, I'm not coming back to this, so I have to. And so at the end of the movie, I think one thing it really gives you your money for is that it's a little under 2 hours, but it feels like 4 to 6. And I feel like in that sense, you felt like you got more for your money. I don't know. All that being said, that is my reaction. Brian, I want to turn to you and give I know that you have a valid, strong, counterpoint on this movie. And so, people should hear my rant on this movie, but not, I firmly say that should not be,
is it getting good reviews? I haven't paid attention.
Controversial.
I would say ignore reviews. This is a classic case of Rotten Tomatoes. I don't really care what Rotten Tomatoes has to say about this movie. It's made $1 billion. It's become a zeitgeist thing. I support all of those things. But I would love for someone who liked it to because I think you guys give a great description on your show, why it was great. If you could give the counterpoint to my visceral reaction to hating this movie.
To take a page out of Lily's book, there's times where we are allowed to disagree, and there's times where I can tell you you're wrong, and you're wrong.
Bold.
So this is where I'm going to be bad since I'm new at this Patreon stuff, where people can donate to us so they can hear our thoughts. This is probably where I should be if you want to know my thoughts, just pay the $1.
Well, I would say this. Yeah. Why don't you give a teaser?
Again, I want to reach the level at which we are cool enough to say, pay for our opinions.
I would say just give a teaser, and then people should go and be Patreon subscribers of your podcast and hear the whole episode.
100% support the pod.
It is a fantastic episode of podcast film conversation. I loved it.
No, I don't mind sharing my thoughts. And, one of the 3 guests I'm here with are, actual Patreon subscribers. Just one of the 3.
All 3 will be as of today.
You don't have to.
Because now I got to tell you, I want to hear your counterpoint to why Shy is wrong, because it's always exciting as a sibling to find out why he's wrong, because we just assume right. So you're going to get my $1 a month, and I'm going to listen to that episode so I can explain to my brother why he's wrong. I'm very excited.
And it's something we were going to do anyways, but Becky and I are often a solid month and a half behind anything Shy does.
There you
go. We're the cheap knockoff.
A month and a half to 5 years.
To 5 years. So we're the cheap knockoff. He did mention it to me, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to do this." I was like, "Oh, that sounds so awesome." And then I was like, "Okay, brain, you'll get to that later." But
thanks.
Absolutely.
Not expected, but that's awesome. And actually, since we're on that topic, we have lined up coming out in November a lot. So right now, you're just getting that Joker show, but a lot of shows are about to get dropped. To a point where we're like, whoa, we need to space these out. So anyone that does sign on, if you only see one thing right now, there's a lot more that's about to start kicking in and coming.
That's great.
You ladies might enjoy the feature, for the different tiers. We have a tier level where you force us to watch and review your choice. It can be any movie in the world.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
I love that.
So we can go along that route, and I'm scared, very scared for what some people can think. Okay, Joker, before we go on a giving us cash tangent. Everything you said is accurate. There's a darkness, there's a disturbingness to it that they own. Here's where I will disagree with you 100%, is that I didn't feel it was force-fed, because with the DC, the movie opened up and did not have the DC logo. to begin the film, which I thought was crazy.
It
and I
had
didn't
like the 80s Warner Brothers logo, which I thought was a great bit. That was my favorite part of the movie.
And then, throwing Batman, Alfred in there, could they have removed it? Sure. You could have just had Bruce Wayne as a kid at the end when his parents die, spoiler. And it's just part of it.
Bruce Wayne's parents die?
I'm so sorry, I just ruined it.
Spider-Man's uncle dies?
There were, the disturbingness. You saw everything coming. I'll be honest, I was dumb and naive. I thought that Zazie Beetz was going to turn into Harley Quinn at the end. Like, she was a crazy lady, and then it turned out that a lot of that nonsense was in his head. And, it wasn't going to go the way that he had planned. Like, I was buying all of that. You're smarter than I, so you weren't buying all of that. So maybe that's where it was a miss for you.
So are you, just sorry to interrupt, but you're saying it's better to not have as much comic book knowledge as Shai does then? Like, if it's better if you kind of don't know anything about
I would say my comic
story.
book knowledge helped me in this. Because I know enough about the DC universe, I know I enjoy different interpretations of the Joker's backstory. Like, that's like I don't dispute.
Okay, but it
this
seems like
as
you knew
a
what to expect because you knew so much, whereas Brian maybe didn't and enjoyed it more.
I just mean smarter in general. I felt my comic knowledge was hurting me because I was like looking for the comic-y points, I was
thinking, so then that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's whereas some movies it's annoying if you don't have all the deeds.
See, I think you guys I think folks not having the deets, I just wanted to say deets, would enjoy it just as a dark, disturbing, I need 5 minutes to myself after watching this type of film.
Okay.
To me, what sells the movie is Joaquin. Joaquin, to me, sells it. I've said it on a couple of episodes of different shows now. Circle him, Best Actor winner for your 2019 Oscar Awards. I've got it. It's done. Even though he has issues with the Academy and there's little hiccups in there of things he said in the past, I think he's going to win it because I just think he's insane. You're right about the music. The music's crazy and all over the place. I mean, it's dark and mysterious. And then, they have certain characters that do deserve to have Sinatra playing. But then he's dancing down some stairs to Gary Glitter Rock and Roll Part 2. And you're like, where the hell did that come from? Maybe it's just adhering to how nuts his head is, to how out there and all over the place his head truly is that the music kind of amplifies that. And that's maybe why I enjoyed it, because it just shows you this guy is all over the place. You don't know what to expect. Unless
people are flocking in the Bronx to those steps now. To go take pictures on those steps.
So it's funny is that I hated this movie, but for all the reasons Brian just said, I think people should see it. Like, I think this is a movie that is really worth seeing. So I completely understand if someone is like, oh, this is like, I was miserable for the whole movie, but it's really worth seeing.
How about your wife?
What?
Did the wife like it?
She did not dislike it as much as me, but my cousin Mindy, so our cousin Mindy was with us as well, and Mindy said it felt like the longest episode of Law and Order SVU she's ever seen.
Interesting.
Which I thought was a great line. One other thing I would say is that I think a lot of people are surprised that I've heard a lot of, I've read a lot, oh, Todd Phillips, the guy who did Old School and Hangover, I can't believe he's the one who gave us this movie that's a masterpiece. I think those movies are comedic masterpieces, and I don't think that, in some ways I don't think comedies get enough respect, and so... and I think to deliver how funny and classic, especially the two I just mentioned are, I think Todd Phillips is one of the masters at that. So I actually I'm not as taken aback by Todd Phillips being associated with this movie, by Todd Phillips making this movie. So that's another thing that, again, for a movie I hated, I have a lot of good stuff to say about it. It's a strange experience.
Your review is interesting because I think you said, that being said, 4 times.
Yeah.
And then took a turn, which is fine. You're not wrong. Again, nobody's opinion is wrong for the most part when it comes to art. So you're not wrong, but I think you do appreciate the reasoning people do like it.
Exactly. I totally understand.
It's not just like a fad. Like, people are like, oh, the Joker's controversial and it's amazing. Like, people actually do like it. Because sometimes that happens with movies. So, they're not actually good, but everybody starts to say they're good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to describe. Anyways, I look forward to...
The point is that you're saying it's not a romantic comedy. is what you're saying?
It's definitely
So
not
I
a
shouldn't-
rom-com.
In
So
the
I shouldn't
Joker's
see
head,
it.
it was.
That is true. The
Interesting.
other thing that I'll mention that I have binge watched from the recommendation of Becky and then my buddy Josh over the last few days while I've been running is Big Mouth, which
Thank you.
I think I mean this is. I'm not going to give you guys I told you so status just yet.
No, that's fine.
But this is Nick Kroll really at his best. Like, he's created what essentially is health class, but in a very, like, honest and very, very, very funny way with a great cast. And I'm watching this being like, this is really funny and this is really true. But I'm like, in a weird way, I think it would be cool if teenagers watched this. Like, they're talking like this anyway.
I agree.
It would be pretty useful. And the music...
Wait, if it was required viewing in high school?
Or like,
They do a bit.
they would learn a lot. They would learn a lot.
They do a bit where a tampon dressed like Michael Stipe sings a song while they're all in traffic called "Everybody Bleeds." Like it's supposed to be like "Everybody Hurts," and it was just it was like a masterful
Educational
moment.
for menstruation?
Well,
There's a whole episode on menstruation. That is
season
really
1.
funny.
I was able to actually really just binge watch. Season 2, and I know they're already on season 3, but now by the time I got into season 2, I'm like, I have to watch it sparingly because I can only tolerate like 1 to max 2 episodes at a time because it's pretty gross. Like it's pretty intense. I think if I was a teenager, you'd relate to it a little differently.
I'm
but
wondering
it's
how long.
It's very smart.
I'm wondering how long it'll work for me, but
Exactly.
But I've watched
Exactly.
6 episodes, and I think that at least with season 1 so far, they've done something I think really special in its own very weird way.
Thank you. By the time you get to season 2, it gets a little overwhelming, but I do agree. I think it is Nick Kroll at his best and actually at his smartest because underneath all of the gross humor is actually really, really important storytelling about sexuality and bodies and changing and all these scary things that happen to teens. But but it's underneath the gross out humor, which is quite funny. I saw a streaming movie on Netflix, a Netflix original, recently. The other night, I watched The Laundromat, which is kind of
how
like...
was that? Meryl Streep.
Yeah, I don't want to call it a poor man's Big Short, but that's literally kind of like how it's described in the description of the movie. Like literally, you go to
It's Antonio Banderas, right? And Gary Oldman.
They're like, it's almost like The Big Short, but not quite as well made. But it's Soderbergh made it, which is like a terrible thing to say because Soderbergh made it, and it has the most phenomenal.
But
every
hold on,
actor.
Soderbergh can give you Ocean's 11 or Magic Mike, or he can give you Ocean's 12.
Or Ocean's 8, I think. Wasn't he involved in that?
No, he wasn't involved in that.
Okay.
Magic Mike.
Yeah. So so I think it was like it's an hour and a half, and if it's an hour and a half, I'm probably gonna watch you. It was great. It was interesting. The acting is awesome, but it's still it's still a Netflix streaming film, and there's always something. Not always, but I find like.
But he probably could have been in the theater. Like
it
was in the theater in Tenerife. Can you explain this to me?
There's something like a little. There was
backwards world.
There was something that didn't quite hold together, and I don't know what it was, but it was missing something. But it was fine. I learned a little bit. The acting is great and hilarious, and Antonio Banderas and Gary Oldman are so funny. They're so funny in it.
Huh.
And they are really great. And
Not
Meryl
guys I
Streep,
associate with funny.
right? But they have like a comedic bit. They're basically the narrators of the film, and they're really funny. And Meryl Streep is playing this kind of like overacting, like hyper old lady the whole time. But if you do see it, I don't want to do a reveal, but there's an awesome reveal at the end of the film, and it's actually super cool. But she was great. Anyways, it was good. But I won't say it's like my favorite movie, but it was worth watching.
Cool.
That's my recommendation. Lil, any Rex?
Well, I watched Modern Love in like 2 minutes, so I liked it. I would say some episodes are better than others. I liked better than others, but definitely the first episode and then the one with Catherine Keener. I really, really liked that one. And Dev Patel. I don't know if you've gotten that far. I did not watch them in order.
Dev
Oh,
Patel.
really?
I haven't seen that guy in a while. I like Dev Patel.
This is not a show you need to watch in order. Look at the cast and pick the episode you feel like watching first. So I watched them out of order, and
So it's like you're saying it's like Black Mirror.
sure, if you will, of
Black Mirror and love, yeah.
and love. Yeah,
Instead
exactly.
of cell phones, they use their hearts.
That's a great tagline.
That is a great tagline.
And so, yeah, so I would definitely recommend that. And we started watching Wu Assassins. You can see my palate is quite.
I tell me if it gets good. I watched the first couple episodes. And
I feel like this is right up your alley, Shai.
But tell me, what does Jose think? Because he
likes it. I mean, to him, it's hard to watch the martial arts because, like, for him, it's
Iko Uwais, or I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Iko Uwais, who is the lead, is in what I would argue is the two best action movies of the last decade in the Raid and the Raid 1 and the Raid 2. And I don't think that the actual fight choreography in the show is as gritty and believable as I expect from him. And it really, I was just like, eh.
He's clearly very talented, but it's a show, so it's just like the other people he has to fight against are not always just martial arts extras, right? So in the Raid, he doesn't really speak to anyone. He just fights the whole time.
I think he acts a lot in that.
He acts, but like the other people kind of, you have to, I guess, make a choreography also that's more simple for people to be able to watch for episodes on end. He said, like Jose, watching it with him, he's just like, it's good. It's just very choreographed. Like to him, he can see all the like every single move in the choreograph. And like, I'll jump in and be like, that was a spinning roundhouse, right? And he's like, yes, it is. Good job. And I get like all excited. And I was like, nice kick. And he's like, sure, whatever. So for him, it's a bit tough, but it's fun so far. I mean, it's good if you're into like mystical Asian assassin type movies.
Oh, believe me,
I shows. I am. Right? Yeah, it's better than the Iron Fist. God, that show's bleh. So yeah, that's all I got for you.
Okay.
Love and martial arts.
All right, Brian. The last word on recommendations for today.
And these have to be viewable things, or movies, TV?
They could be anything. They could be like a restaurant you ate at.
Oh, okay.
I was going to be like, it could be ideas you have in your head. What do you mean viewable?
It could be story pitches. You could just you could pitch another podcast. You can pitch anything to our listeners.
Let's see. I'm in the middle of Modern Love, so I echo Lily's thoughts on that. I'm enjoying it very much. Can't wait to knock it out. Hopefully this evening. I really did like Living with Yourself with Paul Rudd. I just finished that. That was fantastic. Did you watch episode 1 of Watchmen yet?
I have not, but you guys raved about it, and so I wasn't even interested, and now I'm like really interested.
It's trippy. It's Lindelof, who did Lost and Leftovers, so you're kind of all over the place, and it's the whole, I have no clue what the hell is going on, and I need to know more type.
I did not like that movie, so I'm interested.
Did you read the book?
No.
My theory is, and you adhere to it, folks who did not read the graphic novel did not like the movie. But
I actually liked the movie, and I didn't. I was aware of the graphic novel.
Okay.
I was aware of the graphic novel, but I wouldn't say I had it sort of in my apartment in college and sort of thumbed through it, but I never.
I feel like the
read
graphic
the whole
novel.
thing.
I'd like to point out that I owned the graphic novel for many years and pretended to have read it. That goes on the list of things I pretended.
Becky.
Did you pretend you liked it?
Yeah, of course. Pretended I loved it. Pretended I read the whole thing. Kept it on the shelf for years.
Right?
Yeah. Just wanted to share that.
Well, Shai, I have it too if you need to borrow it, if you've tossed it out after
I have, if there's a subscription service I could recommend to people, Comixology, on Amazon's Comixology, it is in there, and it's like Prime for comics, and so I'm reading the Sandman series right now with that.
Okay. Oh, well, okay. So my recommendation would be 2 books. They are the Johnny De La Rosa thriller series. He is a detective, not down his luck, but like a hard-nosed, hard-drinking detective type guy. The first one is Scarlet Fever. There's a missing $2 million, and the woman thinks that she can figure out who it is, and he needs to solve where this $2 million went, and should it go to this woman, or does it go to the mob type deal? And then the sequel to that is Toxic Blonde, that comes out. Very James Bondy, very, noir type, dark. And,
will these be movies sometime soon?
I would hope so. They just got audibleized. Is that a word? They had an actor come in and did the first one for audiobook. So if you don't want to read and listen to them, there's many folks who do that. They're available. Or I think the first one is Scarlet Fever is available, and they're working on Toxic Blonde right now. So those books I will recommend.
Very cool.
Awesome.
You got to do Scarlet. You got to do that one first. Toxic Blonde is number 2.
You heard it here first, folks. The first ever book recommendation in Friday Night Movie history.
Johnny De La Rosa.
Oh, sounds awesome. Okay, well, and Brian, where can people follow you?
Take Two Podcast is the show that we are on. That's TOO when you're spelling it. That is the podcast we're on. We drop shows on Tuesdays, and then we have a couple of buddies on our show that do some spin-off stuff where they follow wrestling. I don't know if you guys are into wrestling.
We have had Craig from Take Two Takedown on the podcast, and they were supposed to have me on for an extensive interview about my attendance of the AEW premiere. But then John, not once but twice, found ways to veto it. So I guess they need me to up my Patreon contributions or something. No, I love those guys. I love that show. That is the show that got me into helped get me into wrestling, and it is a must listen every week. It's hilarious. Even if you're not following wrestling, it's really enjoyable.
They drop on our exact same feed, Take Two Podcast, but they drop their episodes on Wednesdays. Wrestling Wednesdays is when they come out. Me personally, at Brian Stever, Stever. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well. I'd love to follow and chit-chat with all of your listeners, because if your listeners are as great as you three, I welcome their follow.
Bri.
It took me 6 months to get Becky to follow me back, so hopefully...
But that was also just
the
2 times she checked her Twitter feed.
I check it twice a year, usually when I'm in an airport complaining about something. That's about it.
Well then, Becky, where can people follow you to hear from you once in a while?
You can follow me on Twitter at FavorBKPrincess, and maybe, just maybe, I'll read your tweets.
And
You can
follow.
You can follow me.
Hard. It's hard. When you come visit next, you can sit down with me and you can just.
That's like when mom and dad say, "Explain to me how to use Plex."
I 100% accidentally tagged Becky on Twitter instead of Shy, in like a sentence. And in my head, I was like, "Oh, Becky will never notice, and she'll know what I'm talking about." And Lons was like, "You mean Shy, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." Whatever. Chi Chi, CHI, K Gomez on Twitter. And I'm very active this week, so get on it.
And you can follow me at Pancake and the number 4 table, so Pancake 4 table on Twitter and Instagram. On our website, which is FridayNightMoviePod.com or Pancake4Table.com, if you go under the blog, Lily promised, I believe it was Lily last week, promised that we would have a list of the siblings we discussed up online. So I actually went into our notes and took all the list of siblings and then made a little picture gallery at the bottom. Now the picture gallery does not match up with the list, so there's a little bit of a challenge there.
Yeah, it's a match game.
It's like a match game, but it's
trivia
not
game.
But it's not activated. So but enjoy that little list to go along with the episode. And
it's a collage. It's a collage of names and images.
It's performance art. The other place you can catch me is on the Gold Nerds podcast, which I am lucky enough to be on with Lons and with Ash, 2 of our really good friends. And on the Gold Nerds podcast this week, we had an amazing experience. We got to interview Sam Lerner from the Goldbergs TV show, who plays Jeff Schwartz, and he was just amazing and gracious, and we had a lot of fun with him.
Well, my shout out was going to be to you and Lons for such a great episode, such a great interview. And I just wanted to quickly say that I enjoyed your interview so much because it was for the fans. Like, I'll listen to sometimes Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert, and he has some really great interviews on there. But honestly, man, he interviewed Joseph Gordon-Levitt and did not ask him about 10 things I hate about you. to bring it full circle on the app, guys. And like, how do you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt in your home talking to you for an hour and a half or 2 hours or 3 hours and never once ask what that movie experience was like?
Did he ask about 500 days?
Yeah, they talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Do they?
Okay,
Yeah.
but like, like in my head, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's your conversation. You're trying to be like friends or whatever. But for the fans, ask the real questions. And so I appreciate you and Lonza's interview because I feel like you asked some fan questions there. Thank you.
It's a show for the fans. And you can follow all the Friday Night Movie stuff at Friday Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram or FridayNightMoviePod.com. And with that, the music will kick in. And because Brian is here, we will absolutely make sure that we are going to say the goodbyes and I love yous. So,
love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you.
Love
you,
Brian.
Steph.
Love you,
Podcasters.
Brian. Love you.
Bye.
Becky's like, I don't give a shit about these things.
Yeah.
She texted me during the podcast. This is the best. This is like so pregnant, Becky. She privately texted me towards the end, maybe when I was talking about my Rex, and she just writes, Lily, shut the fuck up. And then a kiss emoji.